Kristina here with Broken Skulls Productions and Mouth for Music magazine with Aaron from Gemini Syndrome.
What up?
How did you start the band? How did you decide that you wanted to do a metal band?
Well, I've been in bands for years and years. I think we all have. We just happened to meet in Los Angeles at the same time. Everybody was in a similar position in their lives. The vision was there, and we were all on point to go for it, like 100%, and like dive in. So, music certainly for me is something I've been doing my whole life. So,
that's pretty cool. Usually we have random stories where someone just happened upon another person.
There's certainly an element to that. We all had mutual friends and whatnot, and I had a mutual friend with Rich that I happened to be in Los Angeles. I've lived there on and off more or less for 12 years, but I had taken a couple of years off and went back to Chicago, and I happened to be in LA at that exact time. And our mutual friend was like, "Hey, Aaron's in town. I know you're looking for a singer, so maybe you guys should meet up." And we did, and it was all like that. It was so quick and so perfect.
Cool. With recording the album, did you have any hang-ups or any predispositions going into it?
No, not really. I guess being our first, full-length release, there was a lot of pressure, I think more or less from ourselves than anybody else, but the pressure to put out your first piece and have it be good, so we definitely we dove in heavy to it. Just making sure every detail was the way we wanted it to be. I don't think there was any hang-ups, though.
I know a lot of folks, one of the local bands here, have had a little trouble with, editing. They can't quite get past the little hump. I like to ask because sometimes there's really strange stories with it, oh yeah, we had this one song and we just couldn't get past, and we all got really drunk and decided to keep going, and it just turned out awesome.
No, not really. We definitely went back. There was a few songs that we had, on the original demo stuff that we did, that when we went to do Lux, kind of reanalyzed it, reevaluated it, and said, can we make this part better? And that was the stuff that was really difficult, because we'd been playing some of those songs for a couple of years at that point. So to go in and totally take the B section of this song and let's wipe it, let's come up with something brand new and try to make it better than it was before, was that part was difficult for me, just having to erase that part of my brain, you know what I mean? That was difficult, but there certainly wasn't any nights where the whole band got hammered or nothing and had some sort of drunken epiphany. But
I know you've been doing shows before you've recorded the album. How did you get into the scene? How did you start booking shows?
We started with a bunch of our friends in LA. Like I said, I've been there for a long time. I've played in other bands. We all played in other bands. So there's, any city that you're in, there's a community of musicians. As we were coming up with this band and kind of putting all our ducks in a row and organizing with the other bands in our scene and trying to create really a community of bands instead of just saying, this is our show and who cares who's on it. It's no, let's make this an event. Let's make it, instead of just book us and then book three other whoever, let's make the whole night bands that we want to play together, bands that we want to be around, and to bring all the same fans and friends and create that. And then shortly after that, we just started hitting the road as much as we could. We started really small, and you just grind it out, grassroots. And
that's kind of how this town is. There are a lot of really good local bands, local talent that just kind of conglomerate together and just spread out.
You absolutely need to, Like I said, I lived in Chicago for a long, long time. Grew up there, and that was a difficult scene because there was very sorry. Oh man, I'm gonna yell at him, or I'm gonna yell at him later about that. That's funny. But you know, I think you look at like a city like Los Angeles, and you get this impression that it's a very cutthroat kind of town, which it is. There's no doubt about that, because it's the entertainment capital of the world or whatever. But on the converse of that, it seems to me that in the past few years there's been that community building again. Like, let's remember that we're all musicians in this together. Like, let's band up. Let's have shows together. And being in Chicago when I was a kid, it was very much the opposite. You know, almost like mafioso style, where it's like, you're not in the family, then we don't care, you know, kind of thing. And it's just different everywhere you go. But we were very blessed to have really cool people around us that had the same idea. You know, you look at bands like Butcher Babies, they're out doing the same festivals that we are right now. You know, we all came up together, you know, otherwise, and Thrown into Exile, and yeah, it's we all kind of started in the same place and helped each other grow, instead of trying to like do the stepping stone, you know, climb the ladder kind of bullshit. Instead of that, like, well, let's all build a ladder and all climb it, you know.
Kind of help each other up each step.
Absolutely, yeah, I think that's necessary.
That's impressive, though, because not a lot of bands are like that. It's rare to find, to actually converse with bands that are, hey, help your brothers, help your sisters.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just a principle of the whole point of this band, though, is to like create community and to create some sort of camaraderie and brother sisterhood, you know, like, you know, when you come to a Gemini Syndrome show, I want you to feel like you belong there.
Right.
You know, we just played on this tour, I forget what town it was. I heard a kid outside walking up, and he didn't realize who I was or whatever. I was, I think, smoking a cigarette or something. Him and his buddy came in, and I just heard them over say to each other, like, man, I feel so out of place here. And that like really bummed me out. I'm like, no, man. I'm like, they certainly, like, I guess they weren't dressed to the rock and roll part or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? And I don't care about that kind of crap. But just to have them come to our show and be like, I don't feel like I belong here. It's like, well, that's fucked up. Like, yeah, that's the opposite. That's the opposite. And I actually called the kid out on stage. And I said, I heard somebody say earlier today that they didn't feel like they belonged here. I hope your opinion is different. I think that was Missouri, actually, if I remember correctly. But I don't want it to be a stepping stone, man. I want this to be a group activity or something, you know what I mean?
I love it, the words like, no, there. Okay.
Yeah, it's... let me find it. Yeah, I want it to be a community, man. I want it to be somewhere you can feel like you belong. Because I've spent, Lord knows, too much time in my life feeling the opposite. So, right. You know, why would I try to create anything other than that with what I do, what we do?
It's just nice to know that you actually truly care about your fans. It's a big, welcoming type deal.
I truly do.
How many shows do you have left on the tour?
A lot.
Appropriate answer. I don't know. I just go where they tell me to.
We're going to be out for at least the next couple months, so a lot.
All right. Do you know your next show? So when people see the interview, they can head off to find you.
We have today here in Pensacola.
I was waiting for that.
Pensacola, Florida. I have to, sorry. Pensacola. Then we have a couple days off. Then I believe we play Birmingham. And then we go off to Carolina Rebellion this weekend. Yeah, we're playing there. And then we start making our way up the East Coast. But if you need to find any dates, GeminiSyndrome.com, Facebook.com/Gemini Syndrome. It's all posted up there. So,
cool.
But if you go to the GeminiSyndrome.com actual website, there's links to every Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you know, Tumblr, every social media. So.
All the wonderful social sites.
Yes.
I think I'm out of questions. Only.
I can think of one you didn't ask.
Okay, the food question.
Yeah.
There's There's this habit I have when I interview folks. I ask them how the local food is. Like, have you had a chance to have food from the food trucks or the restaurants in Pensacola since you've been here?
I had dinner next door at HJ's. Hot Shacks.
Hot Jacks is a pizza place, like
Yeah, we had
2 doors down. Yeah,
we had a buffalo chicken pizza that was delicious.
I haven't been. I kind of feel bad because
I know the last time I played here with Mushroom Head, I ate at the place across the street, like Catty Corner. That bar, I ate there, and that was really good too.
No, it's
next
a bar.
to that, the bar next to that, the bar grill place. I had a burger from them like a year ago or whatever. But that was really good too. I haven't really made it too far out of this vicinity. So
yeah, it's kind of like, let's just stay.
yeah, I had the almighty Waffle House last night.
Yeah,
So
we're probably going to do that after,
Yeah.
actually.
and then I get to check this out too. So I wake up, I went to sleep, I woke up, I was hungry. I'm like, well, all right, this is what I always do. I wake up like 4 in the morning, go eat by myself. Go to Waffle House. It's only like a block and a half from the hotel and where the RV was. Eat my food, step outside, torrential downpour.
Oh.
Can't even see across the street. I'm legally blind on top of all this, so I'm like, I don't even know which direction fucking RV is right now. It's 5 a.m. I'm calling everybody in my band. Everyone's phone is dead. I mean, I found it. It was only a block away. It wasn't too hard. I just had to get my bearings or whatever. But I got back, like, drenched. Like shoes, socks, underwear, shorts, shirt, baseball hat, everything totally done.
Kind of where you have to, like, peel everything when you get home.
Praying I don't get sick, man. But here I am coughing this today, too. So,
How long ago was this?
Last night. This morning at 5 a.m.
So, after you see this, you're going to go, it was then, that fall.
That's what happened, yeah. No, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this all the way through. I'll be all right.
Right? Vitamin C.
Take my daily vitamins and I'll be all right.
Well, Kristina here with Broken Skulls Productions and Mouth for Music magazine at the Final Music Hall with Aaron from Gemini Syndrome. You're welcome. Thank you.